You are listening to Right Off the Bus.
Hello and welcome back to episode 19. Yes, episode 19, Pat, of Right Off the Bus.
Yes.
We are excited for this one coming out on Wednesday, May 5th. Happy Cinco de Mayo to all those celebrating, from the Right Off the Bus family to yours. As you know, we always want to express that love, Pat. We always got to spread it. But man, excited to get into this week like every other. We just had the NFL draft. We just had Jason Tatum dropping 60 on the San Antonio Spurs, man. We got some fun knockouts. So yeah, there's a lot going on, Pat, as always, man. So it's going to be fun to dive into this one. I'm looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of celebrating, you're doing some celebrating as well. Tomorrow, it'll be before this podcast comes out, but
Yeah, man. 23rd birthday, May 4th, Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to it. My girlfriend said last week, she's like, you excited for your birthday? And I was like, I had no idea my birthday was coming up next
yeah,
week.
at this point, you're like, I don't even care.
I asked my mom for a suit last year for my birthday. I was like, I need a suit. I'm gonna be interviewing. Haven't been doing any of that, bro. And I never got my suit. It's a year later, and I'm like, oh dang, I never cashed in on that. But yeah, man, I'm excited. I got some tickets to go to Mystic Aquarium down in Connecticut. So my girlfriend and I are gonna head down there tomorrow. She's here with her dog, so we're chilling, man. Yeah.
I was gonna say you don't need the suit anyways, because if you interview, it's probably over Zoom. So my classic is the dress shirt with the pajamas on bottom and slippers. And then as soon as it's over, I can just take the dress shirt off and I'm back in comfy clothes, and it's perfect. I did have one in-person interview, so I had to get like fully dressed up with dress shoes and everything. And that was weird that they even had me come in. But yeah, I don't know. Connecticut does things a little differently. That was down in Connecticut. But I was going to ask you, just because, well, May the 4th, first, are you a Star Wars fan? And second, how do you feel about Star Wars in the sports world? Because like, typically sports teams will do something, at least fans will dress up as like a Wookiee or Stormtrooper or something.
Yeah, man. I think it's awesome. So I like Star Wars. I wouldn't say that I'm a fan. I haven't seen the last couple. I think the last two. So the last one I saw was when Rey just destroyed Kylo Ren, and I'm like, yo, this girl just got the Force like 5 minutes ago. How's she gonna beat the most powerful dude in the movie? I was not happy, but it was a good movie. I just haven't seen the last couple. I'm just not all that into it, but I've seen all of them. They are good movies, other than those last two. But I've heard I don't really need to watch those. I've heard I haven't. Heard
no, the last one I had like I watched 2 of the newest trilogy, and the last one I never watched, and I heard I don't need to because nobody liked the ending. And I guess I'm just a follower, so I'll just avoid it. But I like the original 6 anyways, so I never really liked these anyways. But
yeah, the OGs were definitely good, and I will say I do like May the 4th in sports, man. I think it is fun, dude. Like seeing a dude just screaming as Chewbacca on the stands, and man, like why not? You dress up, have fun, whatever makes sports more fun. I think they should have themes every single game for fans, man. It's dope.
Well, there's been minor league teams too that actually made like Star Wars themed jerseys. Like I remember, it was a minor league team literally had like a Stormtrooper outfit. So it's fun to see that stuff. It's weird seeing pop culture blend into sports.
It definitely is, man. It definitely is. Hey, it's just good to see fans back. So hopefully we'll see some cool clips of fans, with some Star Wars gear going.
I hope so.
But man, yeah, excited to celebrate that birthday. Excited to get down in the aquarium. But Pat, I'm even more excited to get into some sports, man. So we're gonna start off with some headlines. And first, couple soccer ones, man. We can go through these quick. But Pat, Man U fans storm Old Trafford, and the game is postponed. Liverpool, Man U. I'm getting ready on my Sunday. Looking forward to Liverpool, Man U, my favorite rivalry in the Prem.
Yep.
Dude, Man U fans literally kicked the doors down, blocked the players from getting out of the hotel, and they set off flares from inside the stadium. There's videos of them kicking the doors down. It was crazy. And now the game couldn't happen. Players couldn't leave their hotels. This was nuts yesterday.
And I saw the highlights of that, but like, what was it all about?
It was just, we hate you ownership. Like, screw you for not, spending all the money and reinvesting, and like the board's just been horrible. And then the Super League too, like fans are just fed up. And I'm like, yo, Man U, like you're in the Europa League Final Four. You're like second in the Prem. Like, what you mad about? But I mean, I I just thought this was wild. Like the game got suspended. When am I going to get to watch Liverpool Man U, Pat?
Yeah, and what is it with soccer fans at games with flares? Like you don't see flares at any other sporting event except for soccer. Like you see those way too often at soccer events.
Especially in South America, you look at like a River Plate Boca Juniors game, and like the streets are just on fire, and people are
pyromaniacs. It's like, what is happening? There's just flares going off everywhere. The whole sometimes it looks cool because you see screenshots and like the sky's red from all the flares, but most of the time it's just like, first of all, imagine like getting into Fenway with a flare. Like, there's no way that's even possible. I don't know how they get in with them.
That is pretty nuts, dude. Yeah, that is a good question. We might have to have one of these Old Trafford stormers onto the pod and ask how they got the flares.
It's like that video. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen the meme video, like the security guy like pretending to pat someone down going into a concert.
He's like 1 foot away from them.
Yeah, not even touching him. Like, that is all soccer security, I think.
It seems like it, man. Hey, all right, next one, Pat. Jesse Marsch. So this is an American manager, right? Went from Red Bull New York, then went to RB Salzburg in Austria, won League Cup, league title in Austria. It was already the best team, but he continued it. And now Julian Nagelsmann, the RB Leipzig in Germany manager, got bought by Bayern. So he's headed to Bayern to coach there. So an American manager, Jesse Marsch, is now coaching RB Leipzig, Pat. And the soccer world is not happy about it. Like, Americans are entering their heyday in world soccer right now. And the fact that an American manager is managing one of the top 15 to 20 teams in the world is a huge step. So I just want to shout out Jesse Marsch, man. This is pretty crazy. This is nuts, man.
Yeah, we got players blowing up. We got coaches now blowing up. And then with Nagelsmann too, isn't he like the youngest Bayern coach in history or something like that? Like,
because he's like 33 or something.
Yeah, I saw he's younger than Manuel Neuer. He's literally younger than some of their players, and he's coaching them. So that's a weird mix.
It's like Sean McVay a couple of years ago. Like, Andrew Whitworth and him were like the same age or something, and there are some other guys. But yeah, I just want to shout out Jesse Marsch, man. Like, dude, an American manager coaching RB Leipzig, like, this dude's getting paid probably like $100K a week now. Like, this is nuts. He's probably on a fat contract. Like, and everyone was hoping he'd come coach the US team because, he was an assistant coach, used to be, and he's the best American manager. I don't think he will be anytime soon because I think that paycheck from from Leipzig's looking pretty darn good right now.
Yeah, he's got a job to do there first, so we won't see him in any outside ventures for a while.
Without a doubt, man. Hey, last soccer headline we're going to talk about real quick, Pat. Inter Milan won Syria A. And this is a big deal. This is the first time in 10 years that a team not named Juventus has won Syria A. Juventus won 9 in a row. Syria A has been dominated. There's been no parity. And the fact that Inter Milan are back on top, Romelu Lukaku, incredible, Lautaro Martinez, the list goes on and on. Shout out Inter Milan because Juventus has been the powerhouse there for literally the last decade. No one else has won in a decade. So this is pretty cool. Shout out Inter Milan.
Yeah, it's been pure dominance from Juventus. And Inter has they have Eriksson now. And who's their coach? Is it who's their new coach? Do you know?
Oh, dude, it's what's his face? Oh, I can't believe I'm blanking on the name.
I know, I put you on the spot hard.
No,
there.
Dude, and it's such a big name, and he plays that 5-back system, which is why I was so big when Hakimi went there. I can't believe I'm blanking on his name.
Is it the guy? Is it Conte?
Yeah. Antonio Conte, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's yes.
We figured it out.
Big win for him.
We figured it out.
Yeah, not that it really matters, but hey, anyways, Jason Tatum. This is our next headline, Pat. This was
biggest
a couple games ago.
Here, I think.
Yeah,
at least we lost for Boston fans.
Yeah, we lost to the Blazers last night, and Tatum and Brown, little collision, not pretty. But man, Tatum the other night against the San Antonio Spurs, we are down like 20-something at halftime. We are down 32 points. Comeback win in overtime. Largest comeback in the NBA this season, by the way, led by Jason Tatum, 23 years old. 60 points, man. 60 points. Ties Larry Bird for the most points in the Celtics history. 25 players ever have scored 60 in a game. This man is 23 years old. This is so crazy what he just did. And I know it's a move towards a new NBA, 3-point shooting. Guys do a lot more. There's a lot more shots. 60-60, bro. This is pretty crazy. This is nuts.
And so we tied Larry Bird for the most ever by a Celtic in a single game at 60. And he would have had 61 because the guy intentionally fouled him. And Tatum was on his way up to the basket. And it should have been an and one. So he should have had 60 plus the free throw. And if he makes the free throw, he now has the highest scoring game in Celtics history. So a little bit of a robbery there, but I mean, you can't be mad about 60 either way. 60s. I was worried he was going to miss a free throw and be stuck at 59 because you never want to see that. But getting to 60 was that was awesome to see.
Especially because watching the game, you know, it goes to overtime and he has 50 and you're like, oh, like he has a chance to set his new career high. Because dude, he scored his career high a couple of weeks ago, 44. And then 2 weeks ago, he scored 53 or a week and a half. And then he scores 60, man. And you're counting in overtime. You're like, oh my God, he's at 55. Oh my God, he just passed McHale for second all time in Celtics history. Oh my God, he's getting to 60. And that was a foul. Should have been continuation. Dude was 15 for 17 from the line. He would have hit it. A little bit of a robbery. But Pat, this man is 5 years away from his prime.
I know. 23 years old.
So I think there's more 60 pieces to come, and I hope every single one of them's in a Celtics jersey. That's all I can hope for.
And I see all these tweets like trying to compare Ben Simmons and Jason Tatum, but like the Sixers fans are more vocal, I think, and they'll say, "Oh, Ben Simmons is way better." And I saw a tweet pop up in my timeline from like a month ago, and it was that Ben Simmons had a higher career high scoring game than Tatum, and then of course the tweet that popped up was that, and then a guy quoted it and said, like, LOL, like he broke this 3 times in the last 3 weeks. So he scored more than 42 3 times in 3 weeks. So Sixers fans, eat your heart out because Tatum's better than Ben Simmons. I'll go on record saying that right now. Maybe not as good as defense. Ben Simmons is a better defensive player, but we like those 60 pieces way more. So
I think that there are 30 GMs in the league that would take Jason Tatum over Ben Simmons.
I think so too. And I think the Sixers might really, if it came down to it.
And get this, Pat, man. A couple of years ago, the Celtics had the first pick in the draft, and they traded with the Sixers back 2 spots. The Sixers took Markelle Fultz with the first pick and gave more to the Celtics, so they'd move back. And the Celtics get Jason Tatum with the 3rd pick. Can you imagine if the Sixers took Jason Tatum and they had Ben Simmons, Jason Tatum, and Joel Embiid? Wrap it up, dude.
That's a scary thought.
That team takes over.
That's a dynasty. That's seriously. Thank you, Sixers, because Markelle Fultz didn't quite pan out. He's down in Orlando now. He came in with no jump shot either. Like, I don't know what was wrong with him, but I'm thankful we got Tatum in that draft.
Without a doubt, man. And hey, let's move on, Pat. We got 2 more. You want to check these out for us?
Yeah, so Aaron Rodgers now, we see draft night, Chandler, which obviously was after our podcast, but we see draft night, and all of a sudden Rodgers drops the ball, right? I text you guys, I'm like, oh my God, drops the ball. I think there have been rumblings before, but he came out right away and said, trade me or like I'm retiring. He did not want to be in Green Bay anymore. I think he had asked for help with receivers. He had asked for just any sort of restructuring to help him out, and they weren't going to go through with it. So now we see Rodgers requesting trades. And the biggest one that I've seen like he asked for like the Raiders, the Broncos, or the Niners. The Niners had made an offer, but the Packers turned it down. And I think that was when Rodgers got really upset. So now we see, I don't know how true it is, but we see Rodgers rumors to the Broncos as the biggest one. It's not, I don't think it would happen with the Raiders, but I don't know if you've seen the Broncos rumors. That one makes a lot of sense to me because coming into draft day, we talked about Drew Lock probably not being the future in Denver. So that would make a lot of sense if Rodgers did go to Denver. I mean, I think at this point, if you're the Broncos, I would be willing to give up some picks and whatever else is needed to get Rodgers because he's coming off an MVP season. You have Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. I forget who the tight end is there. But you have a solid team, a good defense, and then you add Rodgers to that as well. And I can't for the life of me remember who they just drafted either. We'll get into the picks
Patrick
afterwards.
Surtain with the 8th
Patrick
pick,
Surtain.
that corner.
Yeah, that's a solid DB right there.
Yeah.
Their defense, like I said, so they just bolstered their defense even more. They have a good defense. I think their offense is solid. You throw Rodgers in there, that's a whole different ball game. So that's a contender. And that would be a crazy division as well if you threw Rodgers at the Broncos. So I don't know what the rumors are, but Rodgers is definitely not happy in Green Bay, and he told teammates that he's not coming back. He said, "Trade me, I retire." And I'm sure he would have to give up a lot of money if he actually did retire, because there's probably like stuff in the contract and signing bonus, whatever, some of that guaranteed money where you just cannot. You just can't up and retire. So he would sacrifice some money. I don't see him actually retiring. I think it's more likely that he goes somewhere else.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't see him retiring, but I mean, it really does just feel disrespectful to Aaron Rodgers, and it's like it is a new age in the NFL. It's a players' league now. You have to take care of your guys, and Rodgers actually doesn't have any guaranteed money left on his contract, which is why he's been saying, "Give me a new contract, give me a new contract." And is it not the easiest contract in the NFL to give the MVP, who's a quarterback, all the money he wants? Why is this hard? Just go get it done. Give him the money he wants. You're not trading him. Do you know what Matt Stafford just got traded for? I mean, what would it take for Aaron Rodgers, dude? 4 or 5 first-round picks? This is impossible. I don't see him getting moved. I think he suits up for Green Bay this year, and I think he stays there. But I would love to see a team go out and get him. I mean, that would be a earth-shattering move in the NFL, and I'm all for crazy things like that happening, but I just don't see the MVP of the league getting moved. And they have a good team, dude. They've been in the NFC Championship the last 2 years. They do need more help, but they're not giving Rodgers what he wants. They've taken one offensive player in the last 10 years with their first round picks, and it was his replacement. And I mean, it's just horrible management. It really is. But Rodgers ain't going nowhere, man. I do love that he dropped this news on draft night. I thought that was hilarious. I was like,
yeah, no, he literally dropped the ball.
Rodgers.
It made it more exciting. And to your point, like it would have to be a very lucrative offer, because what the Niners offered him, like it was multiple first rounders, a couple players, like it was a very good value offer for someone who doesn't even want to be on your team, and they turned that down. So clearly they either think they can get something better, or they're pretty sure that they're going to keep him in Green Bay.
The only thing that I've heard that I think could make just a small bit of sense, and I don't think it makes a lot, Russell Wilson's not happy. Aaron Rodgers isn't happy. Pretty comparable value. Some picks, players thrown around, some new money thrown around to each guy. But I don't think either think that Green Bay or Seattle are the answer for the rest of their careers. So I don't see it happening, Pat. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess we'll see how it plays out next week. But again, I don't know. I could see him getting traded, but I definitely don't see him retiring.
Yeah.
So that's my takeaway.
Yeah, Pat. And then that just one last thing I want you to touch on real quick, man, because this was crazy.
Yeah, UFC fight night. And first thing I'll say, I feel bad for Dominic Reyes. So Dominic Reyes and then Yuri Prochazka fought in the main event at light heavyweight. And if you remember, we watched this last year. Dominic Reyes on paper probably beat John Jones. It's a toss-up. Obviously, the judges scored that fight for John Jones, and John Jones defended this title back in I think it was February. It was, UFC 247. But Dom was that close to beating John Jones, and now here he is on a 3-fight losing streak. He loses to John Jones, who obviously is the greatest of all time. Then he loses to Jan Blachowicz, who's now the light heavyweight champion. Just beat Israel Adesanya. Granted, Izzy moved up in weight, but still a great win. Jan is no bum. And then he loses to Yuri Prochazka, who that was the second fight in the UFC. But the guy coming into this was like 27-3. He was a champion in other organizations. Savage. So he's on a 3-fight losing streak, but he's not losing to guys. He's losing to very high level guys, which sucks because Dom is high level. But I just feel bad that he's in this spot now, because he was staring at a possible belt where he probably should have won. And now he goes and loses to this guy. He's on a 3-fight losing streak. And I think he's still kind of reeling from the John Jones loss. I think he just is stuck in the past a little bit. He said he was going into the Jan fight and then he got knocked out. But then coming into this one, he said he was in a better state of mind. Like he had come to peace with it. But I don't know. It just didn't look like it. I mean, he was thrown, but his defense was not good. Yuri has such a weird style. It was crazy. And we see that in the knockout, right? I mean, we were texting about it.
Oh, man.
If anyone likes fighting, go watch it and missed it. Yuri with a spinning elbow knockout. it's a KO contender of the year already in April. Technically May, I guess. But yeah, beginning of May, end of April, KO of the year contender. There's already been a few, but that's got to be up there at the end of the year. Like that's got to be top 5, at least top 10, I would say. But spinning elbow knockout, Yuri is he's probably going to be next in line for the title shot. That's what Dana White's saying. It's going to be Glover Teixeira and Jan Blachowicz fighting for the title next. But then I think Yuri's kind of in line after that. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what they do with Dom. I think Dom's got to take some time away from the sport. I think he's got to rejuvenate, just think about things, what he wants to do. And you see that works out for a lot of guys. Like Brian Ortega took like 2 years off from fighting after he lost to Max Holloway. And then he comes out and he looks better than he's ever looked. So I think that can help guys at times. And I think that's probably what Dom needs to do. But yeah, it's about all I have to say on that. And if you missed it, go watch the knockout.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, man. Like, if anyone didn't see it, go find that Yuri knockout. Just type it into Twitter, type it into Google, whatever, man. Because that is an all-time knockout, and it's one you're gonna watch. You want to watch if you're a fight fan at all, for sure.
It was crazy.
All right, Pat, man. Let's move on. It's time to get into a little NFL, and obviously, what's the big news, man? Big news. NFL draft happened in Cleveland over the last weekend. Starts on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Goes through all of them. Man, so much fun happening here. But first, I think Pat and I need to start talking about our teams, respectively. And then we're just going to get into some of our favorite picks, maybe some big surprises in the draft, like Trey Lance going at number 3. So, Pat, I don't know if you want to start. I don't know if you want me to start on those Pats, but
yeah, I mean, I'll start with the Ravens, I guess. Ahead, with the Ravens, I mean, we needed a receiver. We needed a linebacker or an edge, and we needed a tackle or a guard. So we needed to bolster up the O-line, our receiving core, and then just our defense. Edge linebacker was probably our biggest hole, even though we just did trade Orlando Brown Jr. But at 27, I thought we might go for Elijah Moore. I was surprised. We did go with Rashad Bateman. But the more I look at it, I was kind of surprised at first, but the more I look into the Rashad Bateman pick, the more I like it. He's a dynamic receiver out of Minnesota. He's been compared to Keenan Allen. And now with Sammy Watkins as the addition too, we now have 3 first-round picks at receiver. Mm-hmm. We have Marquise Brown, Sammy Watkins, and now Rashad Bateman. And if those 3 guys can develop, that could be a problem. Like, I think Lamar has finally got the tools that he needs. He's got a little bit of size. He's got the speed in Marquise Brown. He's got Mark Andrews still to rely on. That's such a reliable guy at tight end. So it was a good, I think it was a good move to bolster up the offense. We no longer need to pursue Julio Jones, even though we were the favorite to sign him. I don't know if Julio's going anywhere anyways. We were the favorites. I was never really behind it. Although it would have put us in instant contention, but that's just too big of a payday, at least more than I was willing to take on.
Especially when you got to pay Lamar next year.
Yeah, we picked up his 5th-year option, but we're going to have to pay Lamar a ton of money, so we got to keep the cap down. And then, like I said, with the edge or linebacker, we picked up Jason Owa, or as he likes to be called now, Odafe. So he said he's going to go by that now. Yeah. He said he went by Jason because nobody knew how to pronounce his name, but he's like, you guys just have to deal with it. So we got Jason Owa, linebacker out of Penn State. Excellent pick. He's one of the most dynamic defenders in the draft. He was said in this ESPN article, he's the DK Metcalf of outside linebackers, which is just hilarious. That's an awesome comparison. Yep. But
you had him in your mock draft, Pat.
I did. So the only one I didn't. Yeah, I didn't have Rashad Bateman, but I did have Jason Owa, so I was very happy with that. And I said I'd be happy with those 4 that I selected. But honestly, the way we drafted, I'm happy with Bateman. I'm happy with Owa, obviously, because I had him there. But he recorded the best 40 time, 4.37 seconds, longest broad jump, 11 feet 2 inches, and fastest 3-cone drill, 6.9 seconds of any edge rusher. And Owa's 40 time was faster than wide receiver Rashad Bateman. So
4.37 from a guy that big is gross.
Yeah, we're getting a pretty skilled linebacker here. So I'm very happy with that. And the big storyline was like, he doesn't have any sacks. He didn't have any sacks in college. We don't necessarily need that. I think with the right development, he's going to be an excellent defender. You can't teach that size and skill, that speed. You can't teach that. You can teach someone how to fit into a scheme. You can teach them the plays. So I believe that was a great move, and I'm thrilled about it. And then just to probably round out just our top 3 picks, I'll just go over those because those are like the biggest ones. We get a guard, which I was very happy about. Not a tackle, but a guard that works just as well. That works just as well, I think. Ben Cleveland. So if anyone doesn't know Ben Cleveland out of Georgia, you will. He's 6'6", 343 pounds, and his nickname is Big Country. So if you couldn't be any happier about that, I mean, the Ravens just got a guy named Big Country. He's absolutely enormous. And at guard, too, I don't care how non-skilled you are. If you're that big, you're going to create some space and some time for Lamar and for J.K. Dobbins to have some space and have some movement with the ball. So I'm so excited that we picked him with the 3rd round. We didn't need to go any higher there. That's great value at number 94 overall. So now we have Lamar Jackson, J.K. Dobbins, and Gus Edwards. We have space for them bolstered up with a nice guard. I think our O-line is much improved. We got the receivers. I think all the tools are there for the Ravens this year, and I'm very excited.
I think so too, man. And like you said when we were doing the mock last week, you trust your front office and you trust John Harbaugh. Like when I don't like that they're called war rooms. I think it's just so ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like a bunch of old, it's like a bunch of old white guys just like hanging around, like they're in the war room. It's like they're
high-fiving after they select someone for their football team. It's not a war room.
They're on laptops, like just making phone calls. Like, yeah, I agree with you. War rooms, a bit of an exaggeration.
For sure. But hey, man, I mean, you trust that front office and that coaching staff. And I think they did a great job. I think you filled a lot of the needs that you had. I think Bateman, I think Bateman and Noah fit that culture really well. And I can already hear the press conferences with Lamar talking about Big Country, man. I'm looking forward to that.
Yep.
But man, all right, let's move on to the Patriots a little bit. So Pat, obviously big story for the Patriots. Mac Jones falling all the way to 15, which I had in my mock draft. So I was excited about that one.
Yeah, it was a good call.
I was a little surprised he lasted all the way to 15, but we talked about it. Those teams 10 to 14 didn't need quarterbacks. So if anyone was going to drop, it happened. And I like Mac Jones, man. I do like him. I've been saying all along, I think Cam Newton's going to start 6 to 8 games next season, and I'm still going with that. I mean, this is Cam's job right now to lose. And dude, Max, I mean, you can't compare anyone to Brady, but if you're going to compare a quarterback out of this draft, I hate going for a negative first, but the lack of mobility. That, plus the accuracy, plus his greatest skill is reading coverages. Like they say, he gets to the 3rd read faster than anyone in this draft. So accuracy, management, like does not turn the ball over. That's exactly what Brady was and is, man. And that's what they're trying to make Mac Jones into. I was, after draft night, I was like, man, I can't wait for all these Patriots are championship contenders again, blah, blah. They're not. I mean, this is probably a 10-11 win team. Unless Mac Jones comes out and really surprises everyone, or Cam Newton does, I think it's going to be hard for this team to win 12 games, even though they went out and signed everyone. But I love the Mac Jones pick. This is our quarterback for the future. This is clearly the guy that they're planning with. The Nick Saban Alabama connection, we don't need to go on about that. It is what it is with the Patriots. Like, they love those Alabama guys. And man, I like the pick. I do. We went out and got all this talent on the offensive side of the ball. So there's certainly guys to help them develop. I wanted Justin Fields, but I understood that he was going to go too high. I'm happy with Mac Jones. He's the 5th best quarterback, right? But he is phenomenal value at the 15th pick. Phenomenal value. Like if someone traded up to get him at 8, you'd be like, what are you doing? But at 15, I love the value. Absolutely no problem with it at all. 2nd round pick, man. This is interesting here. So the Patriots draft Christian Barmore from Alabama, D tackle, right? 38th overall. They traded their 2nd round pick and 2 4th rounders to move up 8 spots to go get this guy from the 46th to the 38th. That means they really wanted this guy, a 2nd and 2 4ths for a 2nd round pick. I'm excited about Christian Barmore, another Alabama guy, dude. And the Patriots run a lot of different sets on defense. They rotate their D-line all the time, with some guys being a little bit older, like Lawrence guy. Adam Butler's probably leaving in free agency. You get a big athletic D tackle. And that's what the Patriots want. The Patriots don't run a nose tackle. They don't put out a 6'2", 350-pound guy. They put out a 6'2", 6'3", 310-pound guy that can move around the defensive line, shift, playing a 3-4, playing a 4-3, mixed coverages. I like the Christian Barmore pick a lot. And again, dude, it's Bama. You know, what Bama put in more draft picks this year than any team has ever had. Like it, you know, Bama turns guys pro. That's why you go to Bama. That's what it is.
Yeah, we said like outside of quarterbacks last week, we said all the position players and all the position players that they've developed over the years are unbelievable. Nick Saban knows how to produce stars, and I think you do have a versatile guy in Barmore.
Yeah, man, and I'm excited for him. And we stayed in the SEC for our next two picks too. Two guys from Oklahoma. So we went Ronnie Perkins, DM from Oklahoma, 6'3", 250, which means he's probably not going to be playing DN. He's going to be playing those hybrid outside linebackers. We just call them edges now, right? I feel like it's not really. I feel like no one's a linebacker, no one's a DN. You're just an edge now. You're a pass rusher. But what I like about this, man, is that you bring in great talent to just a loaded position. And that's what the Patriots like to do. They develop you and then let you move up in the ranks, man. Playing the same position, Matt Judon, Kyle Van Noy, Dietrich Weiss, Chase Winovich, Anthony Jennings, Tayshaun Bauer, Rashad Berry. So you bring in this high talent and just let them rotate and get them snaps and not put too much pressure. These guys don't come in and they're not forced to start, which I really like. I think Perkins has great upside. And then fourth round, man, Ramondre Stevenson, running back from Oklahoma, just running back depth. Some of these guys are getting older. James White comes back. Who knows what Rex Burkhead's health is? We like Damian Harris. Get another running back. And again, this is where you find running backs, right? You go in the fourth, fifth round. That's what you do, you know. And I think it's a smart move. Get a big physical runner. And then the last one I just want to mention, dude. Round 5, Cameron Mcgrone, linebacker, Michigan. Third year in a row that Bill Belichick has taken a linebacker from Michigan. Josh Uche and what's the other? Chase Winovich, dude. He just loves these guys. He always develops them. Brady's a Michigan guy. So I just like that for some reason Bill's going a third year in a row with a linebacker from Michigan. Now, Pat, I say all this, and what I'm really thinking here, man, is that Bill just went and continued to build that depth. Just build the depth, get guys at every position 2-3 deep. And that's what he's done. And they're all young. They're all on rookie contracts. There's a lot of really good players ahead of them, but Bill's gearing up for the future. Like, these are the Mac Jones picks, you know, these are the guys that are going to be playing with Mac the next 5 years, and the free agents that we just signed as we phase out the James Whites and the Rex Burkheads. And I hate to say it, but Donta Hightowers and, you know, Devin McCourty's, those guys are in their early to mid 30s. So it's a new age of the Patriots coming. And I think Bill did a really good job in this draft working towards that. So I do like what we did there. I really do.
Yeah, I like the mix you guys have. I really hope Mac Jones pans out for you. I do think like that was best case scenario for him to go to the Patriots. I think that's a system that can really work for him. And did you see that he said, like, this is what I wanted all along? Like, this is what I was hoping for. That's what you really want to hear, right? Your quarterback's like, this is what I wanted, man. I'm about to go play for really the most storied franchise, if not ever, in the last 20 years. So he's excited about that. I like that they paired him up with his teammate in Barmore as well. So I love that these guys get to play with their teammates. And then if we jump into our surprises, Chandler, we got, I think my biggest surprise, at least, maybe not for a lot of people, but I think, speaking of teammates playing together, LSU, Jamar Chase going to the Bengals at number 5. I think, I don't know, in your draft, I definitely had Penei Sewell going to the Bengals. I don't know about you, but Jamar Chase pairing up with Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, which is that's a great move. Like, Jamar Chase is a generational talent, and they probably just decided we can't pass up on this guy. They thought maybe the 5th pick in the draft was too high to take an offensive tackle, regardless of how good they think he can be. I like the move, and I think the chemistry is going to be there. It's a good weapon for Joe Burrow. He's got T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and now he's got Jamar Chase as well. That's a decent receiving core right there. So I do like the move for the Bengals, although it's like they picked up, I think they drafted a guard as well later on. So they did do something for the O-line. It's probably going to be a little better. I think they signed someone too. So it's going to be a little bit improved. But I don't know if, only time will tell if they missed out on something with Penei Sewell.
Yeah, man. We both said it multiple times. go protect Joe Burrow, and they did not. That was definitely a big surprise for me. I was kind of surprised that Devonta Smith dropped all the way to 11. I think he's the
Yep.
best receiver in this draft. I think the Eagles got a great player. I think Jalen Hurts is going to love having him, but the problem is they need a lot more help than just
Mhm.
Devonta Smith to get them anywhere near competing. But I really like that. I like that Devonta Smith pick. Man, Trey Lance at 3 is a surprise to me.
I
You
didn't expect it either.
Yeah,
I
you
thought if
gave
anything, Justin Fields would be going that high.
me too, man. And you give up a lot for a guy that started 17 games. And like this is a guy that has not played much and has not played good competition. And hey, maybe this is we are gonna wait 2 years. Maybe Jimmy Garoppolo is legitimately their quarterback for the next year or two. But we'll see what happens there. I was a little bit surprised with that Trey Lance pick. I thought it was gonna be Justin Fields, genuinely.
Yeah, I know like the big thing about Shanahan was that they said Trey Lance had like the highest IQ out of any quarterback in the
Mhm.
draft, like out of the tests they do and whatever else. That pro day, they do some tests. They said he had the highest IQ. So maybe they think he's going to be a good game manager. Maybe they saw what, the Patriots see in Mac Jones, a good game
Right.
manager, a good decision maker. I do think Trey Lance will come in with a chip on his shoulder. I think San Fran is kind of a style that might work for them, similar to North Dakota State. It might be a good scheme fit for Trey Lance.
Mm,
And again, if he develops under Jimmy G, I think without Jimmy G's injuries, like he's a great quarterback. So I think that is a good guy to develop under. I think he'll learn some things Jimmy G learned under Brady. So it's
it's
not
true.
far from the from that tree that you like. So I think I like the move. It did surprise me though.
Yeah, another teammate pairing. I like Jalen Waddle ending up in Miami, so Tua
Mm-hmm.
gets his star receiver from Alabama back. Now, I had Micah Parsons going 10 to the Cowboys. He went 12th to the Cowboys. They traded with the Eagles for that Devonta Smith trade. I love that pick. And I will say, too, Justin Fields, man, the Bears have their first quarterback since Jim McMahon. Like, it has been 40 years since they've had a good quarterback. Like
Mm-hmm.
when I say who's been the best quarterback since Jim McMahon for your team, and the answer is Jay Cutler, there's a problem. So I'm really happy that Justin Fields is there. But dude, that quarterback room is weird, bro.
It
You
is.
got Nick Foles, Andy Dalton, and Justin Fields. Like that is a wild quarterback room.
I know.
Like there has to be a trade. There
And
has to be.
I saw a tweet from a month ago too from the Bears Twitter account. It said QB1, and then it was just a picture of Dalton like photoshopped into a Bears jersey. Well, and someone was like, "Yeah, well, that lasted a month because now I mean they're probably going to make Justin Fields QB1, or it could surprise. I mean, they're all going to be fighting for a spot in preseason,
Mhm.
so maybe he won't be. Maybe he'll have a development year. You never know what's going to happen. Like if the guys are going to be a plug-in starter or if they're going to be a development guy for a year or two. So I'm curious to see what they do with Justin Fields. But I mean, clearly, if they moved up in the draft for him, they
Right.
think he's their guy for the future.
Even though you go out and pay Andy Dalton $10 million, which I think is
Yeah, that's a
funny.
huge waste of cap space. Yeah, so maybe
Couple,
they will use Dalton for a year, or at least
yeah,
maybe it'll be like a I don't know, like a Flacco and Lamar situation. Like Flacco started the first half of that season, then we had Lamar come in. I think Flacco got like concussed, but still, along the same lines. But
yeah,
maybe Dalton will start like the first half. Well, they'll see how he's performing, and then they'll gauge from there and put Justin Fields in.
yeah. And there still has to be some sort of trade value around Andy Dalton and Nick
Yeah,
Foles. You
definitely.
would think at some point, especially if they play well. Now, Pat, two more that I just really liked what they did. I love that the Chargers. I love that Rashawn Slater dropped to the Chargers because Justin Fields got beat up last year. And man, it's we were talking about this with Joe Burrow, but go protect your young quarterback, man. The Chargers went and did that. They got a fantastic offensive lineman that can play 4 different spots on the O line, which I love. And then the Jets at 14 trade up to take Elijah Vera Tucker, man. And what do? You take a quarterback at 2, go get him an offensive lineman at 14. I
Mm-hmm.
absolutely love that. The left side of their offensive line is elite now with Mekhi Becton and Elijah Vera Tucker. And then the Jets also in their first second round pick, they take Elijah Moore, the best receiver left on the board. Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, Jamison Crowder, Denzel Mims. That's not bad. That's not bad. That's
Yeah,
not
the
bad at
Jets are putting some
all.
things together here. I think Connor Howe would be happy. And like I said a few weeks back, like the way that AFC East is building, it could be the best division in football for the next 5 years. It just depends how things pan out. Depends how Zach Wilson pans out at QB. I think the Dolphins are set. If Tua can put some plays together and he can play up to his potential. The Dolphins are going to be good. The Jets could be good, which is weird for me to say. It really just depends how Zach Wilson plays. And then, with the Chargers, my buddy's a big Chargers fan and we were watching the draft together. He really wanted the Chargers to trade up and get Penei Sewell. And when they picked Slater, he was kind of bummed, but he was also happy that he got a tackle. But I was trying to convince him. I was like, that's the best O tackle on the board. Like you only really missed out on Penei Sewell. And then Rashawn Slater, you never know how things are going to pan out, right? Like guys are so highly touted in the draft, but you never know how things are going to pan out, especially with first rounders. The hype's so high. Rashawn Slater almost was under the radar just because of Penei Sewell. So I liked the pick for the Chargers as well. That was a great move to protect Justin Herbert. Herbert has receiving options. They did need a tight end, though, because they got rid of Hunter Henry. I don't know what they're going to do there. If they drafted someone later on, I'd have to look. And then with Penei Sewell, I think like the Lions probably wanted to take a receiver, but right before them, Jamar Chase off the board, Jalen Waddle off the board. They probably didn't have their eyes on Devonta Smith, but they did get Penei Sewell, a great O lineman to protect Goff, who they just brought in. They do have future draft picks, so they'll probably want to take a receiver next year. They got good picks from the Rams from Matt Stafford.
Right.
So they do have some picks and some options maybe at receiver in the draft next year. But I'm just wondering what they're going to do this year. I mean, who do they have at receiver? They have an O-line to protect Goff, but they have nobody to throw to. They have TJ Hawkinson.
I think they signed Tyrell Williams to a 1-year deal. But
okay, Tyrell Williams, who was like hurt all of last year. Yeah, Tyrell was hurt all of last year too. You don't even know what he's going to do. And I love Tyrell in Vegas. I wish he never got hurt. And I tell you what, I'm going to be drafting TJ Hawkinson in fantasy if I can get my hands on him because he's going to have a monster year. I mean,
he's probably their number one.
Yeah, they're going to have to look at TJ. He's going to be a great receiver for them at tight end. He's going to be a great tight end for them this year. And besides that, I don't know who else they're going to throw to. Tyrell Williams, TJ Hawkinson. It's looking pretty slim at receiver for the Lions, but where they picked at 7 with Jamar Chase and Jalen Waddle coming off the board, I think their hand was kind of forced and they probably had to take Penei, but that's not a bad pick either way. That's solid getting Penei Sewell.
Not at all. I mean, you and I both rated him as the 5th pick in the draft. So,
yeah.
I mean, he's obviously fantastic, great tackle. And dude, honestly, this sounds bad, but I would just not be happy if I got drafted to Detroit in like any sport. Like the Pistons suck, the Lions suck, like dude, and they're just like perennial losers too. Like they haven't been good in so long. I kind of feel bad for Penei Sewell. Obviously not, because my boy's making some bank and he's playing football. So he's
definitely. And then with another O tackle, Chandler. Remember I said I had my eye on Alex Leatherwood, who I thought would still be there at the end of the first round. And then the Raiders go and shock me and they take him so high. I feel like if he was available, we might have taken him. Maybe it worked out because we got Jason Owa instead. Maybe at 31, we would have taken Leatherwood. I don't know. I think either way, we probably would have taken Owa. I mean, you heard the combine stats I listed off. You heard the comparisons to DK Metcalf, the DK Metcalf of linebackers. So I liked the Jason Owa pick, but I was surprised that Alex Leatherwood got taken so high. Maybe
that was a shock.
Maybe Vegas really needs an O lineman, but I was surprised.
Yeah, they did trade the past Trent Brown this season, but Trent wasn't great for them last year. But man, this was an absolute shock. Like when I saw him go off the board at 17, I was like, this guy, like some people had him going 2nd round in some mocks, and this dude went 17. And some of the draft recaps I was reading prepping for this, people are like, this is like a 2nd round talent. This is nuts. That was a big surprise. That definitely was.
It shows you how high people are on the Alabama prospects. I mean, it's another Alabama guy off the board right there. There were so many, so it doesn't surprise me.
6 in the 1st round this year.
Then another one down the list, Naji Harris to the Steelers. I was surprised that the Steelers took a running back. It's probably because they just don't think James Conner is going to be it, and he might be gone. I think he left. Did he leave?
Yeah, he signed with the Cardinals.
All right, so James Conner's gone, so I guess they needed the running back. Najee Harris is going to be solid there, but Steelers got some problems to worry about next year too. They're going to lose Big Ben. They got Juju back, but I mean the Steelers might be the bottom of that division depending on how the Bengals play.
Dude, do you remember that Najee Harris clip? Like they were interviewing after a game, and they're like, Najee, you just made it look so easy, blah blah, and he's like, easy. What you mean easy, man? Those dudes was blowing my ass up. What you talking
He's like, I was
about?
busting my ass. Yeah.
he's like, that dude's 260. Like, what you mean easy?
Yep.
Gotta love that kind of personality on the team. And Pat, last player I want to talk about real quick, man, is just Kwity Paye. And Kwity Paye, man, this story was just so awesome. So he drops a little bit. He was actually projected to go mid-teens, and he lasted until 21 to the Colts. But Colts get an awesome DN, a lot of potential, raw potential, man. And when you get a project in the first round, when someone says it's a project, do you know how much raw athletic ability has to be for you to be the 21st pick out of 260 or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Like this kid has talent, even though he's a little raw, dealt with some injuries, but man, he, classic story of immigrant parents, coming in, mom working 3 jobs, taking care of him and his siblings. And they're interviewing him after the draft, and he's hugging his mom, has her under his arm. And he's just like, you're retired. Like, that's the first thing he said in the interview. He's like, my mom's done working. She's retired. And the mom just breaks down. And man, the best part of every single draft, no matter what sport it is just watching a young person's dreams be realized and come true. That is the culmination of 22 years of hard work, man. And Kwity just is doing this for his family to get them to that place of financial security. And dude, I mean, this is generational wealth for his family now. So I just want to shout out Kwity Paye, man. You look at these stories, and that's what I watch the draft for. Those interviews, man. That's what it's all about. Like when a player gets drafted and they're just crying, talking about their mother. Like, dude, come on.
Yeah, and they're not at the draft. They got like their whole families around them at their house. Yeah. You love to see those types of things.
Without a doubt, man. The 40 people standing behind him are all taken care of now. So shout out Kwity Paye, man. Shout out all these young men with their dreams coming true, man. That's pretty cool.
They gotta get paid.
That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. Now, Pat, it's time to move on. And we haven't given a runner's high update in a little bit, man. And what's kind of funny, Pat, is we actually did do this, and then I saw you add it to the doc, like our like show notes before another episode, and I was like, didn't we do this last week? But then I remembered that we had so many audio problems that we didn't.
Yeah, it was, that was the week. I think that was the week that you finished solo because my audio problems were so bad. Hopefully those are done with. But yeah, Chandler tried to give us a runner's update about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and because of me, it didn't make the episode. It was just too bad. We didn't want to curse your guys' ears, so but Chandler's gonna give us one today.
Yeah, man, it's all good because the audio's been great the past couple of weeks. The listeners are happy.
Hey, these guys have made insane progress since the update you were gonna give. So I would let you give us that update.
Yeah, so I don't think we've talked about this since the first one. Like I don't think we have. So man, I'm just gonna recap real fast because we don't want to spend too long on this. Hellah Sidibe, he is just such a light, man. This dude is just so awesome, so happy. But he's running from LA to New York. It's over 3,200 miles, hoping to do it in less than 1,000 days. My man is on day 64. He's ran from LA to Del Wap, Illinois, man, or whatever it is. And dude, he just posts him seeing all this wildlife and like all these people coming to run with him, cops giving him escorts, like just the best, man. He's always so happy. But this dude's running across America. From LA to New York, and he's on day 64. He has run from LA to Illinois. I don't think people realize how crazy that is. He ran from LA to Chicago. That's so crazy, man. 64 days. It's unbelievable. I don't know what he's averaging. My guess is somewhere between 35 to 45 miles a day, which is just incredible.
Insane.
Yeah, and he has such a great spirit, man. And just hard not to root for. I started following him when he had like 40,000 followers. He has 100K now from doing this, and he's just blowing up. People love him. He's popping up on podcasts, like running ones that I listen to. They're like, have you heard about this guy? Like he's taking over the running world, which is awesome. We love.
And we said he's a UMass guy, right? He went to UMass, didn't?
No, he didn't. One of the guys that's crewing him, that's like helping take care of him and running with him, he went to UMass, yeah, but he's out running with him and crewing him and stuff, which is
gotcha.
Cool.
Okay.
And then the next one, man, the Iron Cowboy, James Lawrence. So just to recap again, James Lawrence is an Ironman triathlete. An Ironman triathlon is a 2.4 mile swim followed by a 112-mile bike ride, followed by a 26.2 mile run, a full marathon. James did that 50 days in a row in all 50 states in 2015. I'm listening to his book about it. Pretty crazy. But right now, dude, he's doing 100 in a row. My man is on day 64 today, Pat. So he's 14 days past the world record that he's already set, 50 days in a row. 2.4 miles swim, 112 on the bike, 26.2 mile run, dude. And I got to tell you, one thing that was really cool, day 50 after he completed it, because obviously that was the threshold that he hadn't passed before, he shaved his beard. His beard was like down to here, shaved his beard, shaved his head. He's like, I'm a new man. Like, he's like, there's no more James Lawrence. This is the Iron Cowboy moving forward.
Cowboy.
Like, this is the Iron Cowboy. Let's go. And man, I mean, hard not to root for this guy. I will say what's kind of crazy is, like, he's on days like 64. His times have gotten better on some of his runs and stuff. Like, he's not slowing down, and he's dealing with a million injuries, as you can imagine. This dude's not slowing down. He's on day 64 of these, which is just totally nuts. He's probably on a 112-mile bike ride as we're recording this.
Yeah,
right
you
now.
talk about like shin splints at that point, like running every single day. I mean, Hellah Sidibe and James Lawrence got to have shin splints for days. Like, I don't even understand how their legs just aren't putting.
Dude, the blisters on their feet, the hips just all messed up. All the above, man. It's pretty crazy. So shout out both these guys, man. They're doing some pretty incredible things. And Pat, just tying this into the UFC world really quick, a couple of weeks ago, Georges St-Pierre, who is maybe the welterweight GOAT, I may say it's Kamaru Usman now, but GSP's up there. GSP sent him a video. James Cowboy's a big GSP fan. He's saying, hey, like, just want to send you some love. Like, you're amazing. You're representing Canada so well since they're both Canadian. And it was just really cool. And they showed it to James Lawrence while he was running, and he was blown away. He was like, this is like, GSP knows what I'm doing. Like, that's crazy. So it was cool. Shout out GSP for being part of it, man. That's pretty dope. So our next guest on Right Off the Bus that's joining us for our Under the Radar segment is none other than my good friend Keegan Nutt. Keegan and I became friends from high school, and he went on to play soccer at Stonehill College for a few seasons, anchoring the team in the defense and midfield when he's playing. And Keegan, we just got to say thanks for you popping on and spending, 15, 20 minutes with us, chop it up about your soccer career, a little bit about Chelsea and world soccer, as crazy as it's been, man. And we got to have you as our resident Chelsea expert in such a wild season, man. These past couple of weeks have been nuts. So thanks for coming on, man.
Hey, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Hey, you just told us too, we're your first podcast, so we're excited for this. We're excited to see how you do. Maybe we'll give you a grade at the end. We'll see. But Keeg, man, starting off, can you just give us a little bit of the cliff notes on your soccer career? I mean, when I met you, you were moving from Seattle to Massachusetts, and then I believe we were your second town in Massachusetts. And so can you just give us a little bit of the cliff notes, man, on that soccer career going on?
Yeah, I'll try to keep it brief. Kind of been all around, but I grew up in Seattle. I'm born and raised there for 16 years. My dad's British. He always loved soccer, so I have played since I was 4. I've just continued to play every year. There was other sports in there, but soccer I just stuck with. I've continued to play, and then at junior year in high school, my mom's like, hey, we're going to move to Massachusetts. She's originally from there. So I'm like, sure, let's go do it. Let's try a new adventure. I meet you at Oliver Ames High School in Easton, Massachusetts. And, John Brada, a great coach there, all these great players. And I continued to play there with the help from Brada and a few other players and coaches. And my career has just gone off, and I got to go to play in Stonehill, which is also in Easton. And I'm still playing today, which is great. It's kind of like the brief summary. I've been playing since 4, and I've just continued to play.
Never stop.
Never stop.
So you went through youth in Seattle, and then when you moved to Mass, you played in high school as well.
Yep.
And while you were at the high school, you made it to multiple state championship games and played in those. So can you talk about a little bit like the pressure of what it's like to compete in that stage, even at a high school level? I mean, it gets intense, and it's a high level of soccer.
Right. I will say, like, I played college soccer, and that's a high level. But when you're playing for these state championship caliber teams every year, which Washington, like, they had that, but I never thought I'd make it to a state championship, a junior and senior year, back-to-back years. But it's mentally challenging and physically challenging. But when you have the right teammates, and like I'll always say, John Brada, this great coach for high school, you have the right atmosphere, and all the tools, you're able to do it. But it's mentally a lot. I think it made me, the player I am today, and this strong of a person and player I'm becoming, over these years.
What position did you primarily play too?
So I've played all over. I'm kind of a versatile left mid, as Chandler knows. I'm lefty. College was center mid a little bit. Then they're like, hey, we don't have a left back. You're going to play left back for 3 years. And I'm like, sure. But I really like attacking mid is my main role, but I just kind of go wherever people need me, in the left side potentially, because I'm a lefty and there's not many lefties on many teams.
Great. Well, we need the versatile players, but as you mentioned, you went on to play at Stonehill College too.
Yep.
So what was the biggest transition for you going from high school to the college level soccer?
Right. High school is a lot of, how do I put it? It's fast paced, but as you go to college, you really get like this fast paced, gritty. You're playing with guys that are, high school, you're like 14 playing some 18-year-olds. In college, it's like you're 18, but you're playing with 21 to 25-year-olds from all over the country to all over the world. So in the Division II league we played in, when we were playing Southern New Hampshire, Franklin Pierce, we were playing 24-year-old, semi-pros over in Spain that are just amazing and outstanding athletes. And I'm 18 years old. Like, I'm not even a man yet. Like, what am I doing here? But it's a faster, more physical league, but it's high school prepared me because of John with this style of like, really got to play really hard and tough, and you got to want it. One thing is the mental toughness, and you got to want it more than others. And I was really prepared for college with the mental toughness.
And Keegan's mentioned him a few times, Pat, man, but John Barada is just a soccer coaching legend at Easton. Just phenomenal coach. Brought this men's team to places that it wasn't supposed to go, and just loved by every player. Like, phenomenal development. Just great guy all around, man. Youth minister at my church forever. Like, guys,
shout out John.
Producing stars like Keegan here.
Yes, sir. Like
I'm
our boy
looking to be
Nathaniel,
like him.
Like our boy Nathaniel Cardozo over at UMass, man. It is what it is. But hey, man, Keegan. So you mentioned you played kind of, I don't want to get the wording wrong, but some semi-pro or some lower leagues in the U.S. Can you talk a little bit about those experiences playing semi-pro or whatever it is, and kind of where that ranks in the tier of U.S. soccer?
Yeah. So there's a pyramid in U.S. soccer where it's like MLS. And now they've added USL Championship and then USL League One, League Two. So those are 4 tiers of like pro soccer in the US where you can get paid to play technically. And just under that, the 5th tier is UPSL, which is the United Premier Soccer League, and NPSL, National Premier Soccer League. Those 2 leagues are the ones I've played for most recently, with Rhode Island Reds, which is in the NPSL in Rhode Island, and then Mass United FC, which is up in Andover, Massachusetts. And those are just 5th tier, but you're kind of competing with Division II, Division III guys, some Division I guys, but just to keep playing. You practice 2 to 3 times a week. You play once on the weekend, but it's a full-time gig. You're just not getting paid, but you travel to New York, New Hampshire, Maine, all different states. But I've played the past 3 summers semi-pro, and it's been a real great experience as I'm trying to hopefully go overseas and play semi-pro, because I just got my British passport, actually.
Let's go.
Oh, wow. So you're looking to continue over there too? Yeah.
So I'm in contact with the guy that's trying to help me go try out over there in Europe or Australia.
That's incredible, awesome, man. I'm pumped for you. I didn't know. That's awesome.
I don't talk about it too much because I like to stay humble, but if I get there one day, then I can bring you guys along with.
Cat's out the bag, Keegan. We're going international, baby. Let's go.
I hope.
Don't worry, we won't post this clip.
We'll come for a visit, check you out. But speaking of moving overseas, British soccer, you're a Chelsea supporter, and recently we had the rise and quick fall of the European Super League. So I want to get your thoughts. What was your initial reaction to that being announced, and how happy are you with its immediate demise?
The immediate demise is very, very uplifting to me. I am so glad it's not a thing. When I heard Chelsea was in it, I'm like, come on, of all these clubs, Liverpool, Chelsea, United, I'm like, wow. And they were like the founders of it. Like, Chelsea was one of the main 4 that was agreeing to it. So I was really opposed to it. I didn't know exactly what was going to happen, but I was like, if fans come together, I don't think it will happen. But I'm so glad it's not. And I'm glad that Tuchel, our manager, is not supportive of it. And we're really building a great squad, I think, for the future. And this Champions League and going into next year, I think Chelsea has a strong, promising team for the next few years.
And Chelsea fans would probably concur with you. I mean, they were outside the buses, like stopping them from going, not letting them on the pitch. So
you see with Manchester United, they protested, Old Trafford yesterday. Like, if Chelsea was still like persevering that, I mean, there would be a lot of a lot more stuff going on. So I'm glad we pulled out as quickly as we did.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. And another question here with Chelsea, man. First, I just got to say it's tough for me to admit how good Mason Mount is. It really is. He's absolutely unbelievable. But man, you know who I think is even better is my boy Christian Pulisic, Hershey, Pennsylvania's own. So, I mean, the score is 1-1, but Chelsea gets the away goal against Real Madrid in the UCL quarterfinals. Only American to ever score in the semifinals or the Final Four, man. Can you talk about how you're feeling about this second leg? This episode is going to come out after the result, but how you feeling going into that second leg with Real Madrid?
Well, I'm glad it's coming out after the result because we're going to be happy when Chelsea goes through. I'm predicting it now, but Captain America, like you said, Christian Pulisic, I'm a huge fan of him. The next generation of U.S. soccer, and he's taking it overseas, but he's killing it. Mason Mount's doing great too with Kai Havertz and Timo Werner, but we're just a phenomenal team, and Christian's a really solid player to have in there, and he's just finding the kinks and what he needs to do. But that goal was huge last week, and a tie or a 1-0 victory could get us through, and that goal could be crucial, that away goal.
And like Chandler said, this will come out on Wednesday, so we'll already know the result at that point. But I know we're really hoping for the all-English final, Chelsea, Man City. That would be cool. We'll see what happens. But
you're a City fan, Pat, right?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, right. I hope it's a final between them two.
For that.
I'm rooting for PSG.
Oh, okay.
Oh, come on. Hey, we got the away goals, but De Bruyne and Mahrez came through.
Yep.
But going back to Chelsea, they have 6 games left, including that UCL semi, and then they have the FA Cup final. So how are you feeling about a strong finish in the Prem with cup matches against Madrid and Leicester shuffled in there?
Yep. It's huge. We need to finish strong for sure. Prem is still, the top 4 is pretty crazy. I'd say top 6 is still really crazy. So we need to finish the next 6 games and for sure secure, the top 4. Make sure we can, I don't know if we can push for 3rd anymore, but we need to make sure that we get 4th just because the statue of our club. And then our goal has got to be if Champions League doesn't go well, but you always want to win as many competitions as you can, we need to win FA Cup. Like we need to push for that. And that's a big thing. If Champions League doesn't work out, we still need to train hard for that. Because if you can't get Premier League title, you need to get, next best, which is FA Cup or Champions League. And we need one of those at least.
Yeah, make that $220 million offseason worth it, right? I'm
here
for it. All right, Keegan, last question we got for you, man. And this is just kind of getting ad-libbed a little bit, but we got to get a little MLS in there, man. You want to talk about your Sounders real quick? Because I talked about it at the end of this podcast. It's the last thing in this podcast. Carles Hill, unbelievable for the Revs right now. One of the best players out there. But Seattle has one of the best 10s in the league, too. So I don't know if you want to talk about your Sounders at all and how they've started off the season.
That's actually a good point. Carlos Hill and Lodero, they are like lefty magicians. Are they both from South America? I forget.
Carles is from Spain.
Sorry, my bad. But they're both just very, very phenomenal players. And, me living in Massachusetts, I can support the Revs because they're right down the road. But from Seattle, the Sounders are 3-0. I think they should be top of the leaderboards right now in MLS. And I think Revs are number 2. But Sounders, after I watched them last night, they look like a really, really dominant team when they play well. And we're doing this new 3 in the back, but it's also 5 on defense. It's a lot like Chelsea. I'm not saying that's weird, but it's a lot. The wing backs get up, and the style where Brad Smith is left back that gets up and scores. That's kind of the style I like to play. He's just killing it, and we have a lot of attackers going forward. So it's going to be a hopeful year, but I hope another MLS push, an MLS Cup push again.
Hey, man, I'm not mad that the Sounders are first in the West and that the Revs are first in the East. I'm all good with it. I'm all good.
Let's have them meet up in the final. I really want that.
Are you missing Jordan Morris?
We are, which is crazy, but Bruin is stepping up like crazy. This old veteran, he's huge, and Rui Diaz is nasty up top. But then all of a sudden our left back scores twice yesterday, or he got a goal and an assist. They are flying up the wings with everyone they've got. We got Kellen Rowe from the Revs, who's also a Seattle native. They have a depth squad, and when Morris comes back, if it's not this year, next year, they've prepared for a while, which is good for the future.
Well said, brother. Well said. Hey, Keegan, man, we appreciate you coming on. That wraps up your first podcast ever. How you feeling?
I was nervous at first, but now I feel a lot better. This was really fun, so I appreciate having me on.
Hey, laid back conversation with your buddies
Yeah.
talking soccer. You know what could be better? But hey, man, we just want to say thanks again, and the floor is yours. I don't know if you want to tell people to go follow you. I don't know if there's any closing words you want to give out, but the floor is yours to close it out. What up?
I'm a humble guy. I'm not going to say, hey, come follow me. I'm going to share this, on Instagram and hope people get to watch. You guys are building something. I think people should listen to your podcast because it's really growing to be a great thing. But, on YouTube, if you search my name, I have a highlight tape if anyone wants to watch. It would help me promote, for if people see it overseas, But that's all I ask is just that people want to enjoy highlights and hopefully some okay soccer playing. But, no, I just look forward to the future of soccer and what MLS has in store, Chelsea has in store, and what I have in store. You guys keep doing your great podcast and I'll keep listening.
Thanks.
You better.
I was gonna say, sweet. Everyone watch and share Keegan's highlight tape.
Yeah, Keegan, text me that link and we'll put
Maybe
it
you
in.
could
We'll put it in the show notes to this episode. Yes,
Okay.
sir. Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll have it in there.
That would
Keegan,
be great.
Thanks for. I was just gonna say sorry. This delay from the Zoom, but hey, Keegan, man, we really appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
We got to move on to some listener questions, man. And Pat, it was Derby Day, man. It was the Kentucky Derby, and Medina Spirit won. Whoever's horse that is. Shout out Medina Spirit. But Pat, we got to list our top 5 favorite names out of this Kentucky Derby. So we got the top 20 finishers right here. I don't know. Are there more than 20? I have no idea that race. But we got the 20 right here. Okay.
We're picking from 20 either way. So regardless of if there was more, I honestly don't know.
So Pat, I need you to give me at least 4 or 5 of your favorite here, man, because some of these are fantastic. One, just because I work at a liquor store, I think Midnight Bourbon is a great name. I'm rocking with Midnight Bourbon. I'm rocking with Known Agenda. I don't know why. I just kind of like it. And I really like Highly Motivated too. Like, I'm a positive guy. I like to think that I'm motivated. So I rock with that. I kind of just like when there's a stupid one too. So Soup and Sandwich, like,
yeah.
How you not going to root for Soup and Sandwich?
Because there's always some quirky names. Because like I like Hot Rod Charlie. That's a great one. A Midnight Bourbon. That's a classic. My buddy threw money on that one just because he liked the name. Yeah. I think when people don't watch horse racing, but they like to bet on the big races like the Preakness or the Breeders' Cup Classic or the Kentucky Derby, it's like they just like to throw money on the names that they like, regardless of what the horse's experience is. So then we got Like the King. I like that one. Brooklyn Strong, Rock Your World. And then I would say Soup and Sandwich. Soup and Sandwich is a good one. That's probably the best one on that list, if I'm being real with you.
Yeah, they did finish 19th, though, so I don't know. Pat.
Yeah, so not bad. There you go. If you threw money on that one just because you like the name, you probably lost your money.
All right, Pat. And now this is a question that I saw on Twitter. I don't remember who it is. I wish I could give credit, but, I'm not going to go back and find it. What would you name your horse if you were racing a horse in these big races like the Kentucky Derby?
And I told you, like, they're so quirky that you could almost just think of anything. Like, I looked up like a horse name generator because there's just ridiculous. Like, if you go throughout history, there's just some ridiculous horse names. People just like to get creative. And you actually proposed this one to me just out of the blue, but I loved it just because of the Ravens and Terrell Suggs. If you had a horse named Ball So Hard, like you think about like those horse announcers just with their crazy voices over the intercom, and you say Ball So Hard coming around the turn, like Ball So Hard takes the lead. I would love that one. So shout out Terrell Suggs, shout out the Ravens, and I would do Ball So Hard.
Dude, I think you could get T Suggs in a horse ownership group with you. I feel
we could go in splitsies.
You, Pat Ricard, Terrell Suggs.
Yeah, they might have to throw down a little more than I got, but I'll be a 2% owner.
I'm with it, man. So Pat, mine, man, so I'll just tell you and then I'll tell you the story, man. So I would name my horse Batteries Not Included.
Okay.
And
I like that.
I would name it that because me and a couple of my friends are going to trivia one night, like a year or two ago. And I'm looking up bad trivia names because they're all horrible. Like all the ones that they're all so dumb. And I couldn't find any good ones. And I'm like, what are just some of the dumbest jokes? And my dad loves this comedian named Stephen Wright. He delivers everything super melancholy, like just drab. And he has this joke about buying batteries, but the batteries weren't included or whatever. So that's our trivia team name. So I just think it would just be so funny. Like you said, imagine ball so hard coming around the corner.
Yeah,
Like imagine just
batteries not included.
Batteries not included. Takes the lead.
I like that. Yeah, that's a good trivia name actually. Like I don't do trivia, but I know the names are kind of like that. They're quirky,
Yeah.
so I do like that as a name. That's kind of funny.
Yeah. Batteries not included. That's what I'm rocking with, man. All right, let's move on from our horse name. So, Mike Friel, great question here. Best 5 players under 25 in any sport. And Pat, my list, it's not the best. They're not the best players under 25. They're my favorite because I don't want to put Pat Mahomes and Luka Doncic on my list. It's like I just don't want to. I want it to be my list. So, on my list, I got Jason Tatum, absolutely, and I forgot to point out we got the Tatum jersey right behind. We got the Duke jersey. Yeah, I forgot to mention when he dropped that 60 piece. Let's go. But Jason Tatum's on my list. Zion Williamson's on my list. Shout out Duke. Zion's so fun to watch. He had 37 last night on 14 for 17 shooting, like just unbelievable. Trent Alexander-Arnold, right back for Liverpool, man, one of the best passers in the world, homegrown from Liverpool. Gotta love Trent. I had Fernando Tatis on here, man, because I don't think there's a more fun and electric player in baseball right now. And the fact he's 21 years old is just unbelievable with what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a 2-way tie to round out my top 5. So it's kind of a top 6. Erling Haaland is just so much fun to watch for Dortmund. I love his personality. I love his play style. He's Zlatan, but he's better. So I love him. And then I had Christian Pulisic, man. Obviously the best American player. I think he's only 22 years old. Scored in the UCL semifinal for Chelsea on Real Madrid. Great solo goal. Love Pulisic. And now Mac Jones gets an honorary spot on my list just because I'm really hoping he pans out.
Yeah, we'll see. He hasn't proved anything yet, but
honorary spot, honorable mention.
Yeah, one can hope, right? With my 5. So I think baseball, I think I got to go probably Juan Soto. He's 22. I think his average is like 296 career already. He's got like 71 homers, and the guy's 22 years old. He's not even close to his prime. He's just getting better. I got to go Juan Soto. I think soccer, probably Phil Foden, my Man City guy.
Yep,
Nobody probably knows who that is, but Pep has compared him to the best players in the world. He's so young, but you look at his composure on the field. He's amazing. I love him. I think in basketball, you probably got to give it to Luka Doncic. I know Tatum would probably be there as well, but just for the sake of being different than yours, I'll say Luka Doncic as well. So those are 3 for me. And I thinking of like the last 2, it's so tough. I think Lamar Jackson, maybe that's going to be, these are going to be biased, but he's 24. He's already got an MVP under his belt. You could go Mahomes, but just for the sake of being a Ravens fan, I'll go Lamar Jackson. That'll be my number 4. And thinking of a number 5, Chandler, this is going to be tough.
Soup and Sandwich isn't 25 yet.
Soup and Sandwich is not 25, considering horses don't race. Race horses are like 4 to like 8 years old. I think like 8's pretty old for a racehorse. They're pretty young when they race, if not even younger than 4. I honestly couldn't remember. They give a 5th spot, man. You might have to help me out here. I'm trying to think.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with having a top 4.
Top 4.
Hey,
I'll get back to you.
Put Tatum on there. You're a Celtics fan. You can have Tatum on your list.
I can. All right. I can. I'll cheat.
Jaylen Brown if you want to be different.
I'll cheat. I'll put Tatum on. I'll cheat and put Tatum on. We'll do that.
Hey man, it's all good. It's all good. Now, Pat, what about the best looking sports jersey? Question submitted by our boy Joe Braverman. His podcast, Let Me Speak official on IG. Best looking sports jersey. Same thing. Not best looking. Just what's some of our favorites?
I was actually thinking of like baseball ones the other day with my buddy. I really like the Padres brown and yellow ones. I really like those jerseys. Some of my favorites, I really like the San Francisco Giants jerseys. Sticking with baseball, I really like those. The Mavericks, those jerseys, those alternate jerseys they wear, the kind of like the not sage green, but like it's like the different style
you like
green.
Those?
Oh, I love those. Those are so nice. I love those. Those Miami pink, the Miami pink ones are nice. Speaking of pink too, Inter Miami as well. I really like the Inter Miami jerseys. Sticking with soccer too, LAFC, the black and gold. I love black and gold. And then sticking with that, the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah, those
the Vegas Golden Knights. Those are sick. I love those. And yeah, I it's just off the top of my head, those are probably some of my favorites right there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I like right away I went to basketball, and it's kind of funny. I got my Larry Johnson poster up behind me, but I love those old Charlotte like
Oh, those are
teal
nice. Yeah.
blue with the white stripes down. I love the Orlando Magic like Shaq and Penny Hardaway era, the black with the white pinstripes.
Yep, those are cool.
Absolutely love those. And then, dude, the Toronto Raptors won the old Vince Carter era jersey with the actual Raptor on it, the purple one. I mean, those are so goofy, but those are sick.
Yeah, the retro jerseys are like I love retro jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
I have a Randy Johnson Diamondbacks like retro one in my closet. That's one of my favorite jerseys of all time. It's got like the teal and the purple.
7 no-hitters for Randy Johnson, right? Like that's nuts.
A beast.
Like,
yeah.
Absolute beast.
Going back to that error you made on that other podcast when you were thinking of perfect games and you were like, there's only like under 40 no-hitters all time. If that was the case, Randy Johnson's got 7 of them. But that is not the it's way more than that for no-hitters. But perfect games, it's a small number.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, dude, I gotta say, I really do love Dortmund's black kits, like the black and yellow. Dortmund always puts beautiful kits out, man. So that's probably gonna round it out. This is a question we could
again. There's so many nice looking jerseys. I could go equally long about ugly jerseys. Maybe we'll do that next week. Maybe our worst looking jerseys next week.
It's not a bad idea. I like that idea, Pat. But we got to move on as always. So, Pat, before we get on to what we've learned, just get a quick word from our most loyal sponsor, Book Thinkers. So you guys know, but if you read personal development books, you got to go check out Book Thinkers. This company is helping you achieve more and live better every single day through books. They post a couple times every day on their IG. They put out a podcast every single week with the top author in the world. And this team over there at Book Thinkers is going to help you discover new books and new mentors that you can use to achieve more and live better every day. And Pat, I think I mentioned this to you the other week. They actually got a book coming out in the next year or so. So there's a book coming from Book Thinkers, which is exciting. And hey, maybe that'll be the life-changing book that you need to pick up and it'll change your life. But please check them out. Type in Book Thinkers on IG. You'll find them. They got 120,000 followers. Or search Book Thinkers on Google. Go to bookthinkers.com and have everything linked there. But now we're going to get back to the show and what we've learned, Pat. So why don't you start us off? What did you learn this week?
Yeah, in the spirit of the Kentucky Derby and horse racing, man, I miss watching horse racing. It was weirdly enough a big thing when I was growing up. My dad loved it. My grandpa loves it. My uncle loves it. And I was with them all the time. So you would see they would always have horse races going on if there were some big ones, sometimes not big ones. If there's nothing else on, they got the small races on. But, you know, the 3 and the Triple Crown, obviously the biggest ones. But being at like my dad's, if those are on, you know, there's not football on, like we're watching horse racing. So I kind of miss it. I think my brother lives up in Saratoga. So I want to go up there to the racetrack up there because they're like the whole season, like August through like the fall. They have horse races all the time there. You go there. It's a great day. You can bring your own food and stuff, your drinks, like you bring a cooler. You sit there for the day. It's nice out. You catch some horse races. Maybe gamble a little bit. I gotta see. I'm like a wimp when it comes to gambling. I can't do it. So I might just enjoy the atmosphere. But man, I miss horse racing. And then I was telling you the story, just like my most memorable one. Nobody probably knows, but there was a horse named Zenyatta back in the day, like 2007 through like 2010. Those were like my prime years of watching horse races. It was a female horse racing against all the guys, man. She was one of the best horses of all time. She had 20 races. She won 19 of them. And the only one she lost was her final race. She went 19-1. She lost that final race. I think she was going to retire either way after that. So she would have finished 20-0 in her career as a female horse too, which is crazy racing against the guys. So I loved that. She only lost by like a neck length. It broke my heart. That's how into horse racing I was for some reason when I was like 10 or 11 or 12. Loved it. But shout out Zenyatta. She was like my favorite horse, man. And yeah, I miss it. I got to get back into it. It's a fun time.
Classic underdog story, man. How do you not root for her, man? Like, seriously. And I mean, who's going to say we don't talk about female athletes on this podcast?
Zenyatta. The female athlete.
Horse. Man, we're just messing around. But hey, Pat, what I learned this week, I get home from work the other night and I'm watching the second half of the Revs game. And I got to tell you, man, Carles Hill is the best number 10, the best attacking mid in all of the MLS. Carles Hill, beautiful pass with his weak foot to Brandon By to finish for a header, man. And then Carles Hill drills a penalty. Dude just moved the ball so well, dominated the entire game. We talked about it with Jeff Lemieux and Eli Lesser and all the likes, man. But when you have Carles Hill running this Revs team is really hard to beat. A 2-0 win with no Gustavo Bo on the field, Carles Hill dominating from start to finish. Carles Hill is the best number 10 in the MLS. And I mean, I love guys like Lucas Zelarayan, but I really think it's Hill. They were talking about it on the broadcast. They think Hill can play in any league in the world. I think after this year, he gets bought by a big club. I genuinely do. Dude is an absolute game changer. And that's what I learned this week, man. Carles Hill is back healthy and fired up, man, ready to go. And that's what you want to see from your captain and the best player in your team, man. I'm excited for this Rev season. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, MLS back in full swing. Revs back in full swing. Going to be a good season.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, Pat, we're wrapping up the show, guys. Thanks for listening to episode number 19. We hope you enjoyed this episode, talking NFL, talking all this basketball stuff, all this horse racing. We got it all in today, man. So hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed our interview with Keegan Nutt. That's my boy. I hope you guys liked learning a little bit about the college soccer athletes day and, you know, what that takes. And man, you know, we had a good time doing it, Pat. We say it every week, you know. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for any like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff that you guys do for us. And thank you just for your time. Thank you for spending this hour and a half with us. And, you know, hopefully you guys enjoy it. You know, people say they like this podcast, Pat. People say they like that, you know, it's nice. It's structured. They say they like that there's no politics. You know, they say it's just sports. You know, what should a sports podcast be, Pat? Just talking sports, man.
Yeah, we're just about entertainment. We're a little goofy. We, you know, maybe we're not the biggest experts, but we like to give our opinion. Hopefully you like it, but we appreciate everyone listening. It's always a good time. We'll be back next week again. And thank you for listening and have a good one. We'll catch you next week.
Peace.
You are listening to Right Off the Bus.